Hello and what is up YouTube? My name is G3 Iron and today we are happily opening up registration for the G3 Delirium Bank of Exile registration. So for those of you who are new to the channel, have no idea what we're talking about, in today's video discussion we're going to walk you through exactly what we do and how things work around here in G3 as we do collective banking together. And then of course if you're a veteran of the channel and you just want the too long didn't watch version of it, registration is live, and of course our new tracking page is live, and if you've got any questions, we've updated the FAQ. That's all live as well. Okay, so if you're a veteran, go fill that out. If you're new, we're going to dive into all of this throughout today's discussion. If you've got comments, feedback, or questions, we welcome you to please drop those down below in comments down below, or of course you can join our Discord. There is a Discord link included, of course, on every single YouTube video, but also embedded into the Delirium Bank registration page. There is also a Discord join link, and of course the link to view our tracking document, our banking accounting document. You can view all of that right from the registration, and of course all of this stuff is helpfully linked for you down below in the video description. So a couple of things. Our goal whenever we want to run a guild bank is to turn other people's money into more money. So there's a lot of people who don't like trading in Path of Exile. They think it's a hassle. They think it's a pain in the butt. And so they don't do it. A lot of other people in Path of Exile really enjoy trading. We enjoy the economic side of a softcore trade league. And so we dive really hard into that. Typically, I would be playing hardcore every other league and softcore every other league. And usually Delirium would be a hardcore cycle for me personally. But because we've got another little one on the way, due in July, I'm just not going to be getting regular sleep as would be throughout the rest of 2020 what I would usually be getting, and so I'm just giving up hardcore for the year and saying, all right, we're just going to go softcore for the rest of this year, which means every single league from here at least through the end of the year I'm going to be playing softcore, and I plan on doing banks just like what we've done in the past. We've done this in Legion League, we've done this in Blight League, we've done this in Metamorph League, we did it even before Legion League, before our guild got above 200 members. So of course we've got lots and lots of room and space. The number one question that we get, whether it's on a video or on Discord or via email, is, hey Iron, do I need to be a member of the guild in order to participate in the Bank of Exile? The answer is no. So with that being said, let's get into the registration and how to go about signing up, as well as all of the benefits that come along with it. So this is a registration form for guild members and friends of G3 to sign up and participate in our opening week's banking activity. So a couple of details here. Typically, our banking runs, each individual banking run, you don't need to sign up for individual banking runs. Signing up once on the registration form signs you up for the entirety of the league. It makes you eligible to participate in our bank for the entirety of the league. You do not need to be a guild member. So if you've already got a guild or you've already got friends that you're in a guild with, that's totally fine. You guys can go do your own thing. You can base it off of our template if you'd like, if you find that helpful, or if you'd just like to bank with us but don't want to transfer your guild membership, that's totally fine as well. You don't have to worry about that. Our banking runs typically last 7 to 10 days. Occasionally we mess around with that. Sometimes it's 5 to 7 days, but we always let people know when the guild deposits are going to stop and when payouts are going to begin prior to accepting anybody's currency. So we never want there to be any kind of confusion once an announcement has been made about when a banking run has begun or ended, and we like to keep things relatively simple and relatively up to date on our Discord. We've got an entire channel that is dedicated to just announcements relating to the guild bank for the Bank of Exile stuff that we do. So if you're ever looking for announcements on our Discord channel, you don't want to be pinged about other announcements, but you just like to be pinged about guild banking announcements for Bank of Exile, then I would highly recommend that you make sure that your notifications are turned on for Discord. The number of people that I get asking me questions about things that we've already announced just tells me that people just don't see all of the announcements, and that's totally fair. There's a lot of announcements on our Discord server because we pretty much keep up with, well, we try to keep up with as much POE news as possible, and then of course we try to keep up with all of the various discussion points that we have. So anyway, so that's a great spot for any of your FAQ or to find out information about the guild, about any of the specifics about a particular guild bank run that we are running. This first bank run for Delirium is going to last from the 13th through the first week. And so we'll get more into that here in a moment. Of course, we track everything over on a document, which is over here. You can go and read it for yourself. We've got a whole bunch of helpful little tips here at the top. For instance, minimum deposits must be 100 chaos or exalteds, and then you get no withdrawals until we start paying out. So whenever you make a deposit, let's say it's 100 chaos or 1 exalted, that's great. That money stays inside the bank until the bank says, hey, here's your money back. And that is going to be, I believe, on the 18th. Yeah, remember that you will get the same type of currency that you put in. The last day for deposits is on the 18th, and then we're going to try to pay out people in between the 18th through the 20th. That's going to be our goal. So that's the first 5 to 7 days of the league. Of course, we've got a guild officer roster that is up here. These are the people who are going to be accepting your deposits. None of these other people, besides for myself, handled withdrawals. That's just something that I do. I handle the vast majority of the currency inside the guild, and frankly, it keeps it easier for everybody else if they just know, hey, I need to tag Iron in order to get my withdrawal, or I need to pay attention to a message from Iron, rather than having to worry about who was it that I was supposed to be messaging about getting my payout. So it's just easier that way. But if you want to make a deposit, then a whole bunch of our different guild officers are, of course, available, and there may be future guild officers who are getting added to this list as well. So stay tuned for more info on that. That always gets updated on the Delirium hedge fund page. Okay, so what do you need to fill out in order to register? We need your email address, because we need to get a hold of you. As much of a hassle as it might be about sharing your email address, we want your email address, your in-game name, your Discord name. We want as many ways that we can to get a hold of you, because otherwise what will happen at the end of a bank run is we'll be sitting here holding your currency, and eventually you're going to log back into the game and go, hey, where did that currency that I put into the bank go? So at the end of every league, there's usually 4 to 5 people who are like, hey, whatever happened to my currency? And the vast majority of people are like, well, I'm not really worried about it because that was like 3 months ago. But the fact is we like to get people their currency back along with their investment and with their returns. So email address, your in-game account name. So mine, for instance, is Steel Draconis, and then of course that's my Steam name. So whichever account you're going to be on the most. So if you're using 2 accounts, if you're using a Steam account and a standalone account, just put on here whatever account that you will be on most, and whichever account you're going to be making deposits from. That's going to be the answer here. So that way we can track down your characters if you're in game and we need to send you a message real quick. Also, what's your Discord name on the G3 Patrons Discord server? Yes, you need to join the Discord server in order to register and be a part of this. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to tag guild officers when you need to make a deposit. We're not going to be able to track your particular names and get you your stuff back. It could be that you never actually interact with me personally. It could be that we're just on at different times until we pay out your total returns on your investment. So it could be that you're interacting with a whole bunch of other guild officers on the Discord and in-game as you're depositing, and it could be that you never even see me. And so I need to know what your Discord name is to be able to PM you and say, hey, here's your payouts. We're ready to go. Also, we've got a slot on here. If you're a member of the G3 Guild, you can put yes, no, and I'd like to join if there's room. We, of course, always try to have free slots that are available. Right now, we're up over like 210 members, I think, and I've yet to buy my supporter pack for Delirium, so that number should be going up by several dozen here as we move forward into the Delirium League. But of course, if you'd like to join, we like to reserve spots for Patreon supporters, and then any remaining spots that are left over, we like to make sure that we give those out as liberally as possible. So just check yes if you're already a member of the guild, check no if you're not interested in joining the guild, and then check I'd like to join if there is room. Next up, we'd like to know what league you started playing POE in, because oftentimes this is data that we collect over a long period of time. For instance, we've got data on this from Legion League, from Metamorph, from Blight. So we'd like to know when it was that players started playing Path of Exile and where they're going. We like to be a part of your story, part of your growth experience in Path of Exile. And so we like to be able to track that and say, hey, look, we actually were a part of this person's experience that's been playing since beta, but maybe they've never actually gotten past Dominus. That's a thing. We like to be able to say, look, we're playing with somebody who kills Shaper every single league, and they've been doing that for 6 leagues in a row. We like to be able to say, hey, look, we've been playing with players who have been playing for X amount of leagues and skipped every other league. So we like to know what league you started playing POE, and that's a go-to question for us to give us a frame of reference about where you're at in your gameplay experience in Path of Exile. Next up, what class are you planning on league starting with? I recognize this is a tough tough question, especially before patch notes are out, but just do your best to say, hey, which class you're going to league start on, because it's always fun to go back and take a look and see, oh, we all thought that, Shadow was going to be OP this league, but it actually turned out to be Templar. So that's always fun to go back and take a look in. Also, we ask what time zone you're in. We ask that because we've got guild officers who are available pretty much around the clock 24/7 throughout different time zones throughout the world who are available to take deposits. But that being said, if we recognize that you're in a time zone that maybe is several hours apart from other guild officers that we've got who are going to be available to accept your deposits, then most oftentimes I'll personally just send you a PM and send you a message and say, hey, what time zone is best? Can we come to some sort of middle ground in order to make deposits and withdrawals so that way it's easier on everybody? So we like to know what time zone you're in just to make sure that we're serving everybody who's actually registering well. Okay, next up, we've got a simple yes or no. You've got to click yes on this to make this work. G3 guild officers typically care for and manage guild funds until profit margins are hit to return a profit to contributing players. Are you comfortable with other players making trades with your contributed currency and items? In other words, if you dump money into this bank, we're going to use that money to go out and trade and flip and make you more money. So if you're not comfortable with other people flipping currency or flipping items or flipping divination cards and making more money with the money you deposit, well, then why the heck are you even discussing and interested in signing up for a guild bank in the first place? So just put no if you're not interested, walk away, and maybe come back again another time. But if you are interested, we do require a yes on this. Next up, G3 guild officers play at different points and at different times during a league. Do you understand and acknowledge that items or currency will not be returned to prior to the end of the bank run? Any deposits will be kept till the bank is ready to pay out. 0 exceptions. We've had this happen several times during Metamorph as well as during Blight. If you send me a PM, this is something new to the Delirium Guild Bank. If you send me a PM and say, hey, Iron, I know that, we're not paying out for like 3 days or something, but I just gave you an X like yesterday. Can I get that back? The answer this league is going to be no. I'm sick of players coming in, using our bank as a quick deposit spot, and then going out the very next day and saying that they need their currency. That is not what our bank is here for. Our bank is for us to be able to make our players more currency over the long run. That includes you as a depositor. And when you are taking money back out of the bank, it prevents us as a bank from actually using that currency to go and invest in things that are going to make us all more currency in the long run. So you might say, well, I just gave you, 100 chaos, or I just gave you 1x, the minimum deposit. Can't I get that back? No, we're not doing that this league. We've had too many players in the past try to abuse that. And so we are cutting down on that. When you deposit currency into the bank, it's in there until we start making payouts. Okay, that's end of story. Deal with it. If you're not interested, again, if you come to that and you say, I'm not that interested, I don't want you holding my currency, that's fine. That's great. Keep your currency and go have a great league. Next up, the G3 guild officers that will be tracking currency contribution deposits and withdrawals will be Iron Standalone POE account and Iron Steam POE account. And other guild officers, do you give permission for these accounts to make trades on your behalf using currency you've deposited for the express purpose of generating currency profits for the guild and yourself? Very simple. You got to say, hey, yeah, these accounts, they're okay to go out and make those trades, yes or no. Last yes or no, G3 guild profits vary greatly depending on the time of the league and the time of day. Do you understand and accept that the guild bank cannot promise any specific amount of currency returned above 10% from your initial deposit without calculating inflation? Yes or no? So this is another one of those frequently asked questions that we get a lot. A lot of players want to adjust for inflation and adjust for growth rate of value of currency over the time of the league. This is a very simple equation, people. I'm not interested in doing algebra. I'm not interested in doing calculus. I'm not interested in doing any kind of fancy equations. If you are, that's fantastic. You and your bank go run your own bank the way you would like to run it. This is a very, very simple flat calculation. If you deposit 100 chaos into our G3 guild bank, at the end of the guild bank run, you will get a minimum of 110 chaos back. That's 10% from your initial deposit plus your initial deposit, right? So you just made a free 10 chaos. You didn't have to do anything with it other than put that currency into the bank for the duration of the bank run. Savvy, it's very, very simple. It's very, very straightforward. If you put in 10 Exalted into the bank, you will get 10x plus 1/10 of 10x, which would be an additional x. So you're going to walk out with 11x. That is the minimum amount that we are guaranteed to return you. It's very, very difficult for us to say, oh, we're going to guarantee you X number of profits. There are lots of ways that you can make profit, and generally we make more than 10% profit as a G3 Guild bank. But that being said, we only guarantee a 10% return. If that's not a number that's high enough for you, again, fantastic. Keep your currency, go out and trade, have a wonderful league with all of our blessing, and go slay monsters. Okay, last up, if you have any questions, jokes, memes, comments, or feedback, you may say so down below. I always love that, whatever people come up with there. I have got some very random like pirate jokes and bald jokes and lawyer jokes and all sorts of memes and random encouraging thoughts and feedback along there. So feel free to leave whatever it is that you'd like to leave on there. That is not required for you to do, but that's just there if you want to leave us a long message. Okay, so coming over to our tracking sheet, this is what it looks like. It's very, very simple. On the first page, we've got deposits and withdrawals. We calculate out the total number of chaos and the total number of exalted. This kicks out from where our deposits are. So let's say, for instance, that let's say, you know, I'm Iron 23 makes a deposit of 100 chaos, because that's the minimum chaos deposit, and 10 exalted, and whatever the date is, right? That's going to get logged by me, G3 Iron. And so then we say, I'm going to check the price of exalts and chaos every single day. I do that. We keep that as a constant, so you don't have to worry about that. That's just tracking on our end. And over here on the main page, look at that. The Guild Bank now has 100 chaos and 10 exalted in it, right? So that's kicks out to the main page. So that kind of gives us all a global sense of the amount of currency that we're all contributing and putting into the Guild Bank. It's really fun. A lot of players just like to check that, just to see exactly how much currency everybody's dumping in. It's really, really fun. Some players get competitive, and some players like to drop in more currency than others. We've even had people deposit upwards of a mirror, just straight up a mirror into the Guild Bank, which I don't know what you want us to do with a mirror. You already have a mirror. Like, go be happy. You have a mirror. Anyway, so lots of people like to just take a look at what the total number of deposits are at, and then go from there. Now, on our FAQ, we've got lots of different questions. We're going to run through these really quickly. First off, will the bankers be willing to do sales on behalf of course, keeping a portion of the profits for players? So the answer for this is yes. Any deposits that will occur will go through a G3 guild officer, tracked in our spreadsheet, and then returned back to you with a portion of the profit at the end of the bank run. Next question. What can I expect on deposits I make to the G3 bank? In other words, what return can I expect? Typically, you can expect between 10 to 20% return based on the deposited amount. That's usually what's to be expected. The bank splits the profits with you as the depositor and us as a team of bankers. So let's say, for instance, that you deposit 100 chaos, and we take your 100 chaos and we go out and we make 200 chaos, right? 50% of that would get split, right? 50% of that would get retained by the bank and then split amongst the bankers who did the trading, and then the other 50% of it would go back to you. So in other words, you'd get your flat 100 chaos that would come back to you, and then you'd get an additional 50 chaos that would come back to you, and the bank would keep 50 chaos for itself to split up among the members who did all of that trading. Next up question. Do I have to contribute to the Guild Bank if I am a Guild member or a Patreon supporter? The answer is hell no. This is a purely voluntary bank thing that we like to do because we think it's fun. If you'd rather trade or flip or keep your own currency for your own uses, then go for it. Next question. How do I participate? Have you been paying attention? You go over to the registration page and you fill this thing out to the best of your ability, and we go from there. Remember that this is a registration. This is not an application. You don't need an email. You don't need a PM. You don't need any special message in game. You don't need an invitation to guild. This is a registration. By filling this out, you're telling us, hey, I'm going to make deposits into the G3 Guild Bank. Question, what currencies and items will G3 accept as deposits? For the Delirium League first hedge fund, for the first week hedge fund, we are only accepting chaos or exalted currencies. We don't want your mirrors. We don't want your exalted shards. We don't want your divines. We don't want your ancient orbs. We might invest as a guild into those currencies, but we will do it using chaos and exalts. So we're only accepting as deposits chaos values of at least 100 chaos and exalt values of at least 1x. Savvy? Makes sense? Hopefully. All right, next question. Who is in charge of all this if I have a question or concern? The answer is, hi, I'm G3Iron. It's me. So if I'm not on Discord responding to your PM like right away, just feel free to take whatever concern it is that you've got. Send that to me via email. My email address is underneath every single YouTube video. It's goodguygaming3@gmail.com. If I happen to die during Delirium League, then I'm sorry. Your currency and items are stuck on my account, and maybe my wife or my kids can recover it for you, but I highly doubt that'll be on their top list of priorities. Next up, can I choose how much currency I want to return back to me and what type I want in return? The answer to this is no. You will get back the type of currency that you deposited with a minimum of 10% return based on the amount deposited. If you deposit 100 chaos, you will receive back a minimum of 110 chaos at the end of the bank run. Period. End of story. If you say, hey, I want to trade this back in and can you give me divines instead of chaos? No, unless one of our guild bankers is flipping divines into chaos, the answer will be no. If you deposit, let's say a fraction of an exalted orb, oftentimes we pay you back at that point in your returns with chaos at whatever the ratio is at that time in exalted orbs. So just make sure you're very, very aware and very, very committed. A lot of players will build up enough currency in their chaos, especially early on in the league, to buy an exalt and then deposit that exalt into the guild bank rather than depositing chaos. So just make damn well sure that you are positive what particular type of currency you want to get back in, because that's going to depend on what type of currency you put into the bank. Next question. So I don't have to be in the guild to be a part of the hedge fund, right? Correct. Chances are, if we're really, really busy, you might get low priority on the totem pole. That's just the reality of it. When we're really, really busy, usually the first Sunday of the league and the second Sunday of the league, that's when we're really, really busy. Also on the first Saturday of the league, that's when people start making deposits. But really, it's that first Sunday and that second Sunday. Usually the first Sunday people making deposits and the second Sunday is when we're paying a lot of people out. You might get lower priority, so you might not get a message right away, or you might not get a response right away if our guild officers are really, really busy. But that being said, you don't have to be in the guild in order to participate. It just means that somebody might not get back to you right away. So feel free to send me a PM on the Discord if someone hasn't gotten back to you right away. All right, question. How long do you guys do the hedge fund for? Answer, typically it's 1 week per hedge fund. You may not withdraw your funds during the bank run, okay? I will make an announcement personally on Discord when guild funds are being paid out. I tag everyone with that. It's an everyone announcement that goes inside the Delirium Guild Hedge Fund channel. So again, make sure that you're paying attention to that channel. Payouts usually begin 5 to 7 days after the bank opens. For this particular guild run, we are stopping taking deposits on the 18th, and then we are paying people out basically from the 18th through the 20th. Hopefully we'll get everybody paid out right away, and then we'll be able to start a second run. Next question. I haven't gotten an email. Does that mean that I did not get included in the project, or how does that work? Not getting an email doesn't mean you weren't included. It just means that you won't be a banker or a trader. Your deposits will be welcomed. So our guild officers oftentimes get messages, whether that's via email or via Discord. So unless you're one of those people, you're not going to be getting an email or a message or a PM saying that you are included. Remember, it's a registration, not an application. All right, next up. If Chaos Orbs drop during leveling, is it worth depositing them right away, or will you guys be too busy leveling yourselves to make a trade? So let's say day 1 of the league, you get an Exalt drop, and the question is, maybe you want to deposit that. Maybe you make 100 Chaos right away within the first day or two of the league. Are we, as guild officers, going to be too busy? Well, here's the answer. Usually dropping money at the end of a gameplay session in bulk is the best way to deposit currency. So rather than dropping in maybe 1 or 2 times throughout your gameplay session, we don't like accepting smaller amounts, right? Because it means more breaks in our gameplay as traders, whether we're trading or whether we're leveling. So it's much, much better if you just save whatever it is that you're going to deposit for the day or for that session or even for that week. We've got some players who don't get to play during the week, some players who only play on the weekends. So whatever it is that's going to be your session, when you're done with your currency, if you just want us to be the ones going out and making more currency with your currency flipping while you're gone, that's when you drop the currency into your friendly G3 banker at the end of your gameplay session to work with. All right, next up, is it possible to join later? I might not be home for league start. Answer, we typically run the fund for 7 to 10 days. Again, this first one's going to be 7 days, and then zero out the bank so we can ensure that everyone gets their profits back and the bankers get paid as well. So my expectation will be that we're going to be running multiple different guild runs and hedge funds this particular league. That's my intuition typically. We usually do 2 to 3 of these over the course of the first month, and we try to extend them out anywhere between 7 to 10 days. Again, usually the first month we're very, very active on this front. So if you get a bit of a late league start, don't worry. There will be opportunity for you to hop on. Okay, so that is going through the FAQ. That is our registration document. That's the process. You can, of course, sign up right away if you're interested. And if you've got questions, again, feel free to drop me a question down below in the comments. I will do my best to get back to them as soon as we can, as we all count down the hours and the moments until patch notes drop and of course, until the actual league itself for Delirium drops and it all goes live. And then everybody's just going to be AFK or AFK from wherever else that we were. We're all going to be at our keyboards, actually killing monsters and leveling characters and making trades. Anyway, so if you've got any sort of questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to drop them down below. Once again, I'm G3Iron, and I hope Delirium is the league that Amir of Calandra drops for you.
Thanks for watching that video. If you'd like more information on any of our discussion points today, you can see them down below in the video description. If you'd also like to join our Discord or support our Patreon, you can do so with the links down below. Thanks again, and big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters.